snowballed is like a perfect term for it because it's just piled and piled and piled on top of, every big bag just keeps on coming. There was actually another 42-pound bag caught by somebody I know today.
Really?
Yep. I started to pick back up because it was pretty tough when I got down here. But it definitely seems like this real uptick in fishing in conjunction with forward-facing sonar being as big as it is and everybody having it. I mean, we're just seeing this explosion of massive fish. I mean, not.
What's up, guys? I know it's been a minute since we've done a podcast, and I apologize for that. Life, family, work, all that got in the way, along with a little bit of deer hunting. But right now, I want to start doing something I'm going to do a lot more, I believe. We're going to do a little bit more fishing. I know fishing hasn't been my forte lately, but we're going to do it on here. And I got a good one with us tonight, Connor Nimrod. Connor has fished collegiately with ULM, and he's come in to tell us and talk with me about something that has really, as fast as deer season has slowed down, bass fishing showed up big. I mean, they came in like Mike Tyson. Connor started it off with a 42-pound 5-fish bag off Caney Lake, Jackson Parish, followed up by a 48-pound sack by Kobe Dark and Gage Struben. And you'll hear Connor talk about it here in a minute. There's been several more caught on Caney. So what is it about Caney? I mean, Caney is good. We've known it's good, but all of a sudden this year, it's outstanding. So Connor come on. He talked about that. We talked about a few more fisheries in the area. I think you're going to like it. So let's go fishing with Connor Nimrod. Well, there's a lot going on, guys, in North Louisiana right now. Deer season's coming to an end. And I'll be honest with you, man, as quick as deer season went out, bass fishing really went through the roof, Connor. And I want to talk about that tonight because I think, I was talking with Taylor Cobb the other day, and I'm like, man, I need some fishing content. And he was like, man, I want to know what Connor's doing. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, you didn't see it? I'm like, man, I guess I've been working so much. I haven't seen it. And when he told me what you came up with the other day, right before the other big bag came up, I'm like, holy crap. And it's just kind of snowballed because I saw Kevin Jennings had caught some big fish. I mean, is it usually like this, or is it just kind of an anomaly right now?
Well, I think first off, snowballed is like a perfect term for it because it's just piled and piled and piled on top of, every big bag just keeps on coming. There was actually another 42-pound bag caught by somebody I know today.
Really?
Yep. And I think
Holy.
it's always been good this time of year out there on Caney, and just North Louisiana in general is usually always good this time of year. But with the grass being so prevalent and continuing to hold bait and hold fish, they just get bigger and bigger every year. And I think even next year this time we'll be talking about probably even bigger bags.
Good. That's what I like. That's what I wanted to bring you on. I wanted to bring you on, number one, because you're a guy who's younger, understands a little bit. I feel, and I don't want to throw shade on the older guys. Okay, I don't want to do that. But live scope is a big talk. I wanted to bring somebody in that understands and can really speak to that aspect, as well as, I mean, how old are you? You're what, lower 20s, mid 20s?
Yes, sir. 24.
Yeah. So, I mean, you probably got some of that before live scope came in. So you got a little bit of both of it. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring you in, man. Also, you've got a really cool background, in my opinion. I didn't know much about you at all. I'd heard your name. Be honest with you, before I did the MCing with Arkla last year, what's now the Louisiana Team Trail, I'd heard of you, but I didn't know a whole lot about you. But through that trail, I got to know you. First thing I know or learned was that, dude, you can talk. I mean, like, you talk like you're a good interview, man. And I should have already had you on here. So where are you from?
So originally I'm from DeSoto, Kansas. I fished tournaments since I was 7 years old. It's always been a passion for me. I went through, the junior ranks where we used to fish by division of age. And we started out in paper tournaments. We literally used to measure the fish. We'd write down the length and we turn them in at the end of the day. And it's just kind of grown from there through, junior circuit, like we talked about, high school, and then on up into college, and then now into fishing adult stuff around here and hopefully making the jump into either the Toyotas or the Opens in the coming years.
Yeah. So look, let me ask you, what you fished with ULM. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I
How
did.
did that? Is that what got you here? Like, were you planning to come to this area? Just happened to come to ULM, or did they say, "Hey, come fish with us"?
So what had happened was being from Kansas, we don't have hardly any opportunities as far as like qualifying for any national championships for junior high and high school up there. So what we did is Bassmaster used to have a national championship qualifier on Toledo Bend actually every year, and we would come down and fish that because it was the closest to us. It was only I think it was like 8 hours for us from home. Um, and that was when the ULM team was really big. You had Tyler Stewart, you had Spencer Lambert, Tyler Craig, Nick Ledart. You had all those guys that were just out there, just absolutely smashing them. Top 10 in every tournament, winning Team of the Year, winning national championships, and that caught my eye. And I left from Toledo one year, and we went and actually took a tour of the university. And it was pretty much exactly what I was looking for, and they were able to get me on the team, and the rest, I guess, is history, pretty much.
That's really cool, McCann, because I knew ULM had a really good fishing team, and then you come in, I get to meet you a little bit and talk with you, and the teams around here, Louisiana Tech, ULM, I feel like they all are good teams, man. How are they doing nationally? Are they doing pretty good still?
I think the best one around here right now is probably LSUS. I got to give a shout out to that program. They are doing phenomenal. Just, by how they're finishing, they're doing great by the anglers. They're taking care of their guys. Um, I wish we saw some more of that at ULM. I wish the school would step up and really back these kids.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, everybody around here, there's talented guys in every school. I mean, you got them in UL down south. You got them in Northwestern. I mean, they're everywhere. They're floating around everywhere, and we just need the backing to be able to get these kids' names and faces out there and get the same popularity, that Bethel and Campbellsville and McKendree and all these other schools have.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, and I mean, we kind of hit on it a little bit before. You had a big bag. What was it, 42?
42, I think 42-10, if I remember right.
42-10.
Yes, sir.
And that's just you. You
Yep,
caught that
solo.
by yourself. That was because see, that's what Taylor was saying. He's like, man, I want to know how he did it. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, man, he caught all them by himself. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then it just really it's just like big bag after big bag after big bag. But you started that. Was it a media event that you were at when you caught all those fish?
So what it actually was it was my final tournament that I was able to fish with the ULM team. We
Mm-hmm.
do every fall we do qualifiers, so everybody fishes against each other to see where everybody kind of shakes out, who's wearing points, who's partnered up with who as far as traveling, that kind of thing. And like I said, that was the last one that I got to fish with those guys. Um, and I didn't really know what to expect. I'd kind of found them in practice a little bit, but I didn't really beat on them, and I went out there and it just the weather set up perfect conditions, and they were just ready to feed, and I was able to capitalize on five of the right ones.
Yeah, I mean that's 5 fish, 42 pounds. What were you remember the weights? What they were around? I know you remember your
So
big fish.
yeah, and I say this tentatively. I know there's probably going to be some people that say things or whatever. I didn't have a really giant fish, like I didn't have a 12 or a 13. I had a 1009 was my biggest, and then my second biggest was 985.
Okay, okay. So they were all pretty well in around the same range. Okay.
Yeah, they were just
So,
all solid fish.
so let me ask you, man. Live scope gets a bad reputation. I think it's a bad rep, man. And the reason I say that, um, because it's a tool, man. I mean, everybody said, well, you
Yep,
can't. People are like, well, you're cheating. Well, and you gotta. You not only it helps you find a fish, but you have to know what they're feeding on. You've got to know, just there's so much more than just finding them. So
absolutely.
give me your perspective, sir, if you will, on live
So I
scope
think,
or
I think I
forward
stand,
facing. Yeah.
yeah, I think I stand, where a lot of people do. And this comes, from both a business and a fishing, perspective from this because I'm in the process of opening a business. We'll be open this coming Monday, Tournament Technologies, and we're going to do essentially all marine accessories. So I see it from both sides. I see it from the money making aspect, and I see it from the tournament fishing aspect. And I think it's been very, very good for the sport. We've learned a lot about fish behavior that we never knew. I mean, you would never know this stuff just by looking at side imaging, 360. You could put everything you want to on the boat, but if you didn't have live scope, we would never know that these fish suspended the way they did, chased bait as much as they did, moved as fast as they did. I mean, these big fish that I've been catching, which we can get into later, they've been moving pretty fast. So, I mean, it's just things that you learn. And no, it doesn't always guarantee that you go out there and you catch 42, 48, whatever you want to say. I mean, there'll be guys that say that, but I mean, it's not a guarantee at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done it before. Fished well, I've crappie fished with it, never bass fished with it. And I tell you what it does for me is it makes me want to stay out there and be a little bit more aggressive with my style of fishing. Because
Yep.
whereas before you go out there, you throw, you're not getting bites. You're like, man, screw it, I'm gone. This ain't worth my time. Whereas when you see them, you're like, okay, they're here. Now let me try to figure out what's going on, what they're biting, and it just
Yeah.
really can turn a 1 hour trip into a 4 hour trip. Or in y'all's case, it makes your tournament a whole lot more engaged.
Well, and you've got a great point there, and I think that's what a lot of people overlook in this debate, whatever you want to call it, war, pretty much, um, is that regardless of what your stance is on it, we're all out here to catch fish. That's why we go fishing. At least most of us, anyway. We go fishing to catch fish. Yeah. So, like I was saying, I mean, we're all out here to catch fish, regardless of what it is. White perch, bass, hybrids, catfish. Even there's guys using it for catfish. And when you have a tool that is so effective in teaching you where the fish are, where they're at in the water column, how they're responding to the presentations that you're using to target them. I mean, you're taking your fish catching potential just that much higher. And to me, like I said, you're out here to catch fish. Why would you not want to have as many tools as possible? I mean, guys are spending thousands and thousands of dollars to have 20, 30, 40 rods, hundreds of thousands of baits in their boat. I mean, those are all tools. Why not have the one that actually shows you what the fish are doing?
Yeah. I tell you, it's really interesting. You'll see them. Some of them won't even acknowledge what you're fishing,
Yep.
and then some of them they'll trail it all the way to the boat, and they'll turn around, and you're just like,
Yep.
Man. And it's interesting. I do a lot of deer hunting. That's primarily I'm learning all this fishing stuff, and I compare forward facing sonar to the trail camera. I mean, it is
Yep.
what actually it's revolutionized the sport. I don't believe it's going to be any type of cheating, anything like that. I don't like that word when you talk about it because it's not.
Yep.
It's just another tool, man. Because we had years ago when it first came out, my buddy had it on his boat, and we could see the fish. We just couldn't get them to bite. And this dude come right up beside us in a John boat. And Connor, I'm talking about this cat so big, he was sitting in the back of it and the front, and it was popped up like this, man. He's got his headset on, he's talking on the phone, and he rolls up right beside us and he just rips them. And he moves on, he goes up beside another boat and he rips them. And somebody asked him, said, man, how do you know what they're biting? I mean, he said, you don't have nothing, you just rolled up beside us. Dude said, hold on just a second. He pulled that earphone back and he said, hey, baby, I fish every day. I know what they bite. And he just paddled
Yep.
right on off. And that's kind of what it does, is it just keeps that, people are going to learn where they're at, I feel like. But
Yep.
forward facing sonar just really, it takes that little bit of finding them and then, okay, I know where they're at now. Let's just see what they're biting.
Yep.
So let's talk about
There's
Caney real quick. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Keep going.
the only thing that I'm going to add to that is, like you were saying about that guy, there will never be any substitute to time on the water and just pure gut instinct, intuition, whatever you want to call it. Some people have that instinct. They just know where to go, when to get
Yeah.
the bites, how to get them. I mean, they don't need, you could put them in it, like you said, a John boat. They're going to go somewhere and they're going to catch fish. There's no substitute for that, and there never will be.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So let's talk about Caney, man. Is it, from what I've gathered, I've seen some chatter on the internet. Caney has kind of had its ebbs and flows through the years. Is that right? I think they caught some good fish several years ago, didn't it?
Yeah, from what I understand, what I've learned talking to locals down here, because like we talked about, I haven't been down here for as long as most people have. I've only been down here for 5.5 years. Um, and I think I kind of got here right in the, right when it started to pick back up, because it was pretty tough when I got down here. Um, but it definitely seems like this real uptick in fishing in conjunction with forward facing sonar being as big as it is and everybody having it. I mean, we're just seeing this explosion of massive fish. I mean, not even the 10 and 12 and 13 pounder. I mean, there's guys that are going out there catching multiple like 10 7 pounders, 10 8 pounders a day just because you can pick out which ones you want to go after. And I mean, there's so many of them. You can roll through any place out there right now and catch a 7 pounder.
Yeah. And that's impressive. I went last year with Gage Struben, and he knew that lake, man. I mean, it was unreal. And of course, we roll up on Colby Dark, and Colby had caught like a 7 pounder, and the
Yep.
wind was blowing. And I mean, these guys knew where to go to get out of the wind. They knew where to go to get the bite. And to watch those young guys work was really something special. But is it the grass that's in Caney that's helping it, Connor? Uh, is that what really is helping put his weight on these fish?
I think so. And I think the data shows it. We look at, when they killed the grass off, it was gone. And there were a select few people that would catch them. You had, Tyler Stewart, you had Hunter Freeman, you had Trey Bells, they would catch them, but you didn't see the majority of anglers being able to repeatedly catch these decent fish like this. And like I just said, I mean, you can go anywhere in the lake right now. I mean, we've done it the past couple of days where you just go, hey, I've never rolled through this little place before, and you go idle it, and you're like, oh, there's a good little grass edge. Let's just spin around and fish it real quick. You pull it and catch a random 7 pounder and a 4 pounder,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I've never caught one here before. Drop a waypoint, and you go on about your day. And I mean, yeah. If I had to credit it to something, it's just has to be the grass with how protected it makes the fish, the bait fish, everything, with how healthy the water is. I mean, it's beautiful out there right now.
You know, there's another lake here that has drawn national attention in the last year and a half, 2 years, and that's
Yep.
Bussy Break. So I don't hear anything out of Bussy right now. Is it just like two different ways of fishing? Is it not good this time, or is it just everybody's over at Caney and nobody's at Bussy?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think, you kind of got that ebb and flow of, okay, well, in springtime, everybody goes to Buzzard because there's all these 12, 13, 14, 15 pound fish being caught, but you're catching one, you're catching two. But right now at Caney, it seems like everybody's able to catch, a 20 pound bag, 25 pound bag, whatever you want to go. I mean, you can pretty well make it happen out there. It definitely is a different type of fishing at Bussy. It's not my preferred style, which is why I spend a lot of time out there. Because you're basically just fishing around in circles. I mean, you're flipping trees and you're fishing around in circles. Now there's some guys that I won't give up anything because I know how they catch them out there and they do some different little things, but that's not the majority of how the fishing goes out there. Um,
Right.
and I just, I've talked to some guys that have been out there right now, and it seems like it's pretty tough in general though right now this time of year.
Okay. All right. Now you were talking about grass earlier and how it helped Caney.
Yep.
I know from personal experience. I lived in Farmerville. The
Yep.
old saying is, election year is the best year to fish Darbone because that's when they draw it down. Is an election year, and this is an election year. This is the year they're going to draw it down. How do you expect Darbone to fish coming into the spring?
Ooh, that's a great question. And I think that's we're getting into kind of a tentative topic there where some people feel really strongly about certain things about the lake and some people don't. And
Yeah.
um, it's hard to say. That's another place that I don't spend near as much time on as I probably should. I'm starting to learn a lot more about the lake as I fish more tournaments out there. I think this year has the potential to be a really good year on Darbone, just with how much bait I've been seeing out there. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, if we get a really cold winter and we have a good shad kill out there, and these bass can really feed up without having to move a lot, it has the potential to really, really show out this spring. I mean, into the summer when you get the channel hole bite starting. I mean, there could be there could be some potential for some really big bags again out there.
Yeah, and if it's anything like what the crappie fishermen have already started to show, it should be a good year. Should be a fun year,
Yep.
especially with some of the tournaments that are going to be happening on there. I think there's a high school tournament, bass tournament out there this coming up weekend. I plan on going out
Yep.
there and just kind of checking out and meeting a few folks and trying to get my name out there with what we're trying to do at Lake Darvon Life. But um, you know, right now the focus is in Jackson Parish, man, and it's hard not to be. When
Yeah.
people, it's like, again, I deer hunt, and it's the Kansas of you being from Kansas. It's the Kansas of bass fishing locally right now. That's where everybody wants to be because it's a target rich environment, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. I think, it kind of has all of us on the edge of our seat right now because, I mean, every time you're putting your boat in the water right now, you have no idea. I mean, ironically, and I hate to say this because anybody can say it, but you are literally 5 casts away from the biggest bag that anybody's seen ever.
Do you think we'll hit 50?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
What do you? Okay,
And
so let's just go higher. What do you expect? What would be like the highest? I'm surprised, but I'm really not surprised.
I think 50's pushing it just because I've seen how wary these fish get. Because there's not huge groups of them that are these big fish. They tend to travel in wolf packs, and when you catch one of them, it takes a lot of convincing to get another one to bite at that same group. But if you could get, a good weather day, a weekday when there's not a lot of guys on the water, I definitely wouldn't be surprised at all by 50. Probably wouldn't be surprised by 55. I think that's probably the upper limit. Uh, But I mean, we're as big as you can go. They're swimming around out there right now, and
Yeah.
like I said, some guy makes five of the right casts. I mean, he's gonna be he's gonna be right there with the best of them.
Now let's also I wanna just because I know how life is, man.
Yep.
Too much of a good thing, At what point does it hurt? They get where they don't bite. How long is that going to happen? Is that possible?
It's hard to say now. Um, I think I think we'll see that over the next probably 2 years, if not before. But I think with how much structure they have, even in general, I mean, you take the grass away, there's still so much, structure out there for these fish to get in. I think it's almost like we just keep pushing them to different areas, and these fish move, reposition. It may take a while for you to find them again, but the guys that are good out there always find them again, and they just seem to
Hmm.
kind of progressively move areas in the lake. And I think, especially with a lot of the construction going on out there, we're starting to see some changes in, the lay of the land, what banks used to be good, what banks are not good anymore. So I mean, I think it's just an ever-changing deal out there. I don't think it as long as wildlife and fisheries will continue to help the lake and not hurt the lake, I think we will see a great fishery for a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, man, because this is fun. Seeing what you guys and the people that go out there. I enjoy success. I enjoy watching people have their best day.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
can't stand the negativity, man. You've seen that. I showed you that TikTok I made with or
Yep.
made about Kobe and Gage, and I think right now it's sitting right under 700,000 views. And the
Wow.
comments are just they rough, man. They're rough,
Yep.
but it's and I can't explain it. It's sad that people l- would rather tear someone down for being successful rather than just kind of either sit back and try to figure out what they did to be successful or just not even say anything at all. Um, I
Yep.
guess that's the world we live in.
Yeah, and I think as much as it's sad to admit it, I think that's kind of a place where we all tend to find ourselves most of the time where you see somebody else do something and your instant reaction is, man, I wish I was that person.
Yep.
And I found my and I even had to stop myself. I mean, because like you talked about, I just caught 42 pounds. I thought I had really done something, and then like a week later, oh man, I see on Facebook somebody caught 48 pounds out there. Well, now I'm not. I don't have the biggest bag, and that's your instant reaction as a human. You're like, gosh, dang it, and you gotta stop that negativity. You gotta turn it back around. You gotta go. you can look at it two ways. You can be negative and you can get on Facebook, or you can go complain to your friends at the coffee shop or the tackle store and whine. Or you can get on there and go, congratulations, guys, that was awesome. And you can put your boat in the water and you can go out there and try and do better. And those are your two options that you pretty much find yourself having.
Yeah. And you're exactly right. I mean, it's and what it does, man, is I say you started it. I'm gonna say, "Bo, you started it,"
No,
but
I,
it. But what I'm saying is it happened, and more people want to go. More people gonna have good days. More people gonna be out there, and so it can constantly raises that bar up, and
yep,
you know, it's good to see. But look, I'll be honest with you. I kind of, when it comes down to other stuff, you're exactly right. You do something, and then somebody, one ups you a little bit, kind of fuzzes you up a little bit.
yep,
But and it's just human nature. But boy, I just wish more people had more restraint than to, attack someone and
yep,
rip them apart like that. But it's like Gage said. He said, "Let them talk. It'll help that algorithm." And man, it
yeah,
has, man.
yep.
It has pushed it for sure. So, tell me about your business. I saw a little bit on Facebook. Tell me what you're gonna be doing.
So, like I said, we'll be open this coming Monday, which will be which will be January the 8th. We'll be open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And essentially, what we're going to do is everything except for motor work. We'll not touch any outboard motors, but if you have, trailers that you want worked on, we'll do electronic installs, power poles, lights, trolling motors, batteries. We'll eventually end up doing some custom deck stuff that's in the works. So be on the lookout for that, because I know a lot of guys are really, really interested in these older boats getting deck in them, especially in the cockpits. Um, but basically, we're here to make people's boats the boats that they want to be in for life. I mean, we're here to customize them and make them the boat that you want to be in. I mean, you don't want to be spending $100,000 for a boat that you're not happy with. I mean, so if you're going to invest much money in a boat, you might as well put it towards everything else that goes with it and make it really what you want it to be.
Yeah, that's right. Now let me ask you this: are you going to be having any, like, if somebody wants to learn forward facing sonar, are you going to be offering something like that where you can teach them?
Yep, we'll offer weekend courses. Same number that you'll call to book appointments up there at the shop. It'll be 318-307-8438. You can call, talk to me. We can get you scheduled for an on the water class for as short a time as you want to, or for, if it takes us all day to really get you dialed in on everything on your boat, we can do that too. Um, I've been doing this for quite a long time, even though I'm young. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So, I mean, I've been around the block a couple times. I can pretty well get you dialed in on just about whatever you got.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of why I wanted to bring you on. You've got that old school, come up, learn how to fish
Yep.
without it, and you started learning it from the inception. When it came
Yep.
in, you were right. You were at that age where it was right on top of it, and you've seen the progression from Genesis through what it is now, and that's pretty cool, man. Somebody that has that knowledge and has seen it and can teach other people, man. That's awesome. What's the name of it? I want to make sure we got everybody. I see it on your shirt, but
Yep. Yep.
Tournament
It's going to be
Technologies. There you
Tournament
go.
Technologies. Yes, sir.
And you're on social media. I saw the social media post
Yep.
the other day.
Give us a follow and a like on Facebook. Same thing on Instagram. We'll be there. You can book appointments through direct message there as well. We'll be monitoring that social media. Website is in the works. It's just not uploaded yet, so that will be available. Um, and like I said, if you basically got any questions, you're not sure who to turn to, we're the guys and we can make it happen.
Outstanding. Hey, look, cuz, thank you coming on, taking time. I apologize. I hope I can edit out that little. I guess it was my internet drop. Man, I'm out here in the country, man. I got to pipe in
Hey,
sunshine.
if not, it's life. That's how life works, and we'll just keep on rolling with the punches that we give. All right.
That's it, baby. That's it. Well, look, I will see you soon. You gonna fish Louisiana with us, right?
Yes, sir. This year I'll be fishing Louisiana Team Trail. I'll be fishing the Fisher's Men Trail in both media, Louisiana North singles and teams. So you'll see me around.
Outstanding. Hey, I'm gonna need you to keep me updated on what tournaments are going on where, because my goal is every weekend I'm going to a tournament somewhere. So I'm gonna need guys like you and Taylor and other people say, hey man, don't forget we're gonna be out at so and so and such and such, so I can make my
I can
plans.
do it. Yes, sir.
Outstanding. Good to see you. Thank you, cuz. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Perfect.